Junho Kim stood in the back of the auction house, watching the holographic display cycle through lots of salvage, broken ships, and abandoned property. His left arm, the cybernetic one that replaced what he lost on Kepler 442, hummed quietly as he crossed his arms. He had exactly 53,000 credits to his name, 4 years of military savings, disability compensation, and nothing else. The auctioneer's voice droned on. Lot 47. Station Taeyang 7. Heijin System. Class C Orbital Platform. Previous owner. Taejin Industrial. Abandoned 3 years ago. Sold as is. No warranties. The hologram showed a spinning station that looked like a metal donut with habitat rings. It was small, maybe housing for 200 people maximum. The hull showed damage and carbon scoring. Several windows were dark. Estimated repair cost exceeds station value, the auctioneer continued. Life support systems unknown. Reactor status unknown. Starting bid. 20,000 credits. Junho waited. No one else raised their hand. These stations were money pits. Everyone knew it. 20,000? Anyone? The auctioneer looked bored. 15? 10? Junho raised his hand. 5,000. The auctioneer blinked. Sir, the starting bid is whatever someone will pay. 5,000 credits. A long pause. The auctioneer shrugged. 5,000 credits to the gentleman in the back. Going once? Going twice? He looked around the room hopefully. No one moved. Sold. 48 hours later, Junho floated through the airlock of his new station. His pressure suit was military surplus. Just like everything else he owned. The airlock cycled properly, which was a good sign. When the inner door opened, he half expected vacuum. Instead, stale air rushed out. Cold, but breathable. He switched on his helmet light and moved inside. The main corridor stretched ahead, dark except for emergency lighting strips along the floor. They were working. Another good sign. His neural implants, the ones they had installed when he made Sergeant, interfaced with the station's systems automatically. Data flooded his vision. Life support was running at minimal power. The reactor was at 40% capacity. Interior pressure was stable. Temperature was 5 degrees Celsius. This doesn't make sense, Junho muttered. An abandoned station shouldn't have power, shouldn't have life support. The previous owners should have stripped everything valuable. He moved through the corridors carefully, checking each section. Residential quarters. Empty but intact. Mess hall. Dusty tables and chairs still bolted to the floor. Medical bay, stripped of supplies but structurally sound. Engineering. Reactor humming quietly. Fuel cells at 60%. Someone had left this place in working order. Why? Junho spent the next 2 hours exploring. The station had 3 cargo bays, 2 docking rings, a control center, and a small hydroponics section that was dead but could be restarted. For 5,000 credits, this was impossible. He kept waiting for the catch. He found it in cargo bay 2. The bay was empty except for standard cargo containers stacked against one wall. But when Junho's neural implants scanned the room, they detected an anomaly. A section of the wall showed different density than the rest. He approached it and ran his hand along the metal panels. His fingers found a seam. Hidden compartment, he said. Of course there is. It took him 20 minutes to find the access mechanism. A small panel near the floor that responded to pressure in a specific sequence. The wall section slid open with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Inside was a space 3 meters on each side. 3 items sat on a metal shelf. A small case containing data cores, a ceremonial blade in a preservation field, and a cylindrical star map projector. Junho picked up the blade first. It was beautiful, curved and etched with symbols he didn't recognize. The metal was dark, almost black, with silver inlay. It felt old, important. He set it down carefully and examined the data cores. They were non-human. He could tell by the crystalline structure and the way they connected. Not Kathrani design. Not any species he recognized from his time in the Marines. He pocketed them carefully. The star map was last. He activated it, and a hologram filled the compartment. Stars and systems bloomed in the air. But the locations marked on this map didn't match any current database. He checked 3 times through his implants. These coordinates didn't exist in official records. "What were you people doing here?" Junho asked the empty room. He gathered the items and took them to the control center. The station's main computer was old but functional. He spent the next hour trying to access records, but everything was wiped. Not just deleted, professionally scrubbed. Military-grade data destruction. Junho was uploading the station's reactor data to check fuel consumption history when his proximity alert chimed. A ship was approaching. He pulled up the external cameras and saw a battered freighter, the kind independent haulers used. Its transponder identified it as the Times Wandering Star Asterisk. He knew that ship. He opened a communication channel. "Hana, what are you doing here?" The woman's voice came through with a laugh. "Junho? I heard someone bought this wreck. Didn't think it would be you. I'm carrying your supply order. The one you placed 2 weeks ago? That was supposed to be delivered to the processing station in orbit around Heijin 2. Yeah, well, I asked around and heard you bought Taeyang 7. Figured I'd save you the trip. Can I dock? Bay 1 is open." 20 minutes later, Hana Choi floated into the control center. Her pressure suit covered in patches and repair seals. She was 29, sharp-eyed, and had been running independent cargo for 5 years. Junho had hired her a few times when he needed to move things quietly between systems. She looked around the control center and whistled. "This place actually has power. How much did you pay?" 5,000 credits? Her eyes widened. "For a functioning station?" "Junho, what's wrong with it? That's what I'm trying to figure out." He showed her the items from the hidden compartment. "Found these in Cargo Bay 2. Behind a hidden wall." "Oh. These." Hana picked up one of the data cores carefully. "This isn't human tech. And it's old. Pre-war, maybe? That's what I thought." She set it down and examined the blade. "This is ceremonial. Military or religious, I'd guess. The preservation field is still active after who knows how long. That takes serious power. And the star map shows locations that don't exist in any database." Hana looked at him with an expression he recognized. It was the same look she got when she found a profitable opportunity. "You know what you have here? A mystery. A profitable mystery. Old tech cells. Unknown coordinates could mean hidden caches. And if someone hid this stuff, they might have hidden more." Junho considered it. He had bought the station to start a salvage and refueling business. Something quiet. Something that didn't involve fighting. But Hana was right. This was worth investigating. "Help me decrypt the data cores," he said. "We'll split whatever we find. 50-50? 60-40. It's my station." Hana grinned. "Deal. But I'm telling you now, if we find something valuable, people are going to come looking for it. Let them come. I didn't survive 4 years in the Marines to get pushed around by scavengers." They spent the next 6 hours working on the data cores. The encryption was unlike anything in the standard databases. Junho's military implants helped, but it was slow work. Finally, as Hana was making coffee in the mess hall, he broke through the first layer. The hologram appeared above the control center console. 2 figures stood in what looked like a military facility. One was human, a woman in a uniform Junho didn't recognize. The other was alien, bipedal but with features that weren't Kathrani. They shook hands while others watched. Junho froze. He increased the hologram resolution and checked the timestamp. It was dated 130 years ago. 15 years before official first contact. "Hana," he called. "You need to see this." She came running, coffee in hand. They watched the hologram together. The audio was corrupted, but the image was clear. Humans and aliens, working together, long before humanity was supposed to have met anyone. "What is this?" Hana whispered. Junho checked the station's identification beacon. something he should have done hours ago. His implants showed him the data stream. The beacon was broadcasting on an old frequency, one that hadn't been used since before the contact wars. "I don't know," Junho said slowly. "But I think we just bought a lot more than a station." Outside, through the control center windows, the stars of the Hygiene system glittered cold and distant. Somewhere out there were answers. And probably trouble. Junho looked at the hologram again. At the human and alien shaking hands. "We need to decrypt the rest of these cores. Whatever this station was, someone went through a lot of effort to hide it, and someone else might still be looking for it," Hana added. Junho nodded, his cybernetic hand clenched into a fist. "Then we'd better find out what it is first." 3 days after finding the hidden compartment, Junho was in the engineering section when his proximity alert sounded again. Another ship approaching. This one was small. A personal transport, broadcasting a civilian transponder. He opened the communication channel. "This is New Horizon Station. State your business." A young woman's voice answered. "My name is Yuna Park. I'm a researcher from the Interstellar History Institute. I'd like permission to dock. I have information about your station." Junho exchanged a glance with Hana, who was helping him repair a coolant line. "What kind of information?" "The kind that explains why you found Valoran artifacts in a hidden compartment." Junho's hand stopped moving. He hadn't told anyone about what they found. "Dock at Bay 2. Come alone and unarmed." "Understood." 20 minutes later, Yuna Park floated through the airlock. She was young, maybe 27, with quick eyes and 3 data pads strapped to her suit. She removed her helmet and looked around with obvious excitement. "It's real," she breathed. "A cord station. I thought the records were destroyed." "A cord station?" Junho kept his distance. "This place is called Taeyang 7. Now it is. But 130 years ago, this was a cord station, a secret meeting place." Yuna pulled out one of her data pads. "I've been following rumors for 2 years. References in deleted files, fragments in old databases. Everyone thought it was destroyed." Hana crossed her arms. "How did you know Junho found Valoran artifacts?" "I didn't, not for certain. But if this is a cord station, there had to be Valoran items here. That's what the station was for." Yuna looked at them both. "Can I see what you found?" Junho made a decision. If this woman had information, he needed it. He led her to the control center and showed her the blade, the data cores, and the hologram they had managed to decrypt. Yuna's hands shook as she examined the blade. "This is a ceremonial officer's blade. Valoran military. The symbols are a rank insignia." She looked up. "Do you know who the Valorans were?" "The history files say they were a small empire that got destroyed by the Kethrani Alliance 200 years ago," Hana said. "That's what the official history says. But I found evidence that suggests something different." Yuna set the blade down carefully. "I think the Valorans survived, and I think humans helped them hide." Junho sat down at the control console. "Explain." Yuna pulled up files on her datapad. "First contact between humans and aliens is officially dated 115 years ago. That's when we met the Kethrani Alliance, and everything changed. But I found references to earlier contact, much earlier. The records were scrubbed, but fragments remain." She projected a timeline. 130 years ago, human exploration ships were expanding into this region. The official story says we didn't meet anyone, but private logs from that time, logs that were supposedly lost, mention contact with a species called the Valorans. "And?" Junho prompted. "And the Valorans were running. The Kethrani Alliance had declared them enemies and was hunting them down. The Valorans asked humans for help." Yuna looked at him intently. "Some humans said yes." Hana frowned. "Why would we help aliens we just met?" "Because the Valorans warned us about the Kethrani. They said the Alliance looked friendly, but they had a pattern. They would approach new species, offer membership, offer protection. Then slowly, over generations, they would absorb that species' autonomy and resources." Junho thought about that. The Kethrani alliance currently included 6 species. Humans were the newest members, and it was true that Earth's government had less independence than it used to. They called it cooperation, integration. But maybe the Valorans had been right to run. So what was this station? He asked. A secret alliance. The Forbidden Accord, some records call it. A group of human leaders met with Valoran representatives here. They planned for the future. For when the Kethrani would eventually find humanity. Yuna's voice grew excited. They shared technology, military tactics. They built a partnership. What happened to it? Yuna's expression darkened. The Kethrani found out. They couldn't allow it. If humans and Valorans allied, they would be too strong, too independent. So the Kethrani orchestrated the Contact Wars. The Contact Wars. Junho remembered them from history class. 70 years ago, multiple human colonies had been attacked by unknown forces. Millions died. Then the Kethrani alliance appeared, offering help, offering membership. Humanity had been so grateful. You're saying the Kethrani caused the Contact Wars? Hana sounded skeptical. I'm saying the evidence suggests it. And after the wars, human leaders who might have remembered the Accord died in convenient accidents, including someone named Minji Ko, who ran this station. Yuna pulled up an image. She supposedly died in a shuttle malfunction, but I found her name in the station's deleted registry. Junho stood and walked to the window. The Heijin system's star burned in the distance. If what Yuna said was true, humanity had been manipulated for decades. Controlled, he had fought in skirmishes along the border, protecting human space from pirates and raiders, but maybe the real enemy had been helping him the whole time. Can you prove any of this? He asked. Not yet. That's why I need access to your data cores. If this really is a Accord station, those cores might contain the truth. Junho made another decision. Help us decrypt them. All of them. But everything stays here until we know what we're dealing with. For the next 2 days, they worked together. Yuna's expertise in old languages and encryption helped tremendously. They unlocked files one by one. Meeting records, technology exchanges, strategic plans, and recordings, dozens of them, showing humans and Valorans working side by side. One recording showed Minji Ko, the woman who had run the station. She looked young, determined. The Kethrani will come eventually, she said. And when they do, humanity must be ready. We cannot trust them. The Valorans learned that the hard way. Another file contained weapons specifications. Hybrid designs that combined human and Valoran technology. Junho studied them with his military training. These weapons were advanced, efficient, better than anything currently in use. There's a manufacturing bay mentioned here, he said. Bay 3. I haven't checked that section yet. They found it sealed behind a maintenance access panel. When Junho cut through the lock, they discovered a space filled with fabrication equipment. It was old, covered in dust, but intact. Diagnostic displays showed the machines had produced prototype weapons 129 years ago, then shut down. This is incredible, Yuna whispered, examining a completed rifle mounted on a display rack. This is proof. Physical proof that the Accord existed. That's when the lights went red. Alarm klaxons blared through the station. Junho's neural implants screamed warnings. He pulled up the security system and felt his blood go cold. Automated defense drones, he said. Someone just activated them remotely. 6 drones, each the size of a large dog, detached from hidden ceiling mounts throughout the station. They were military-grade hunter-killers, designed to eliminate intruders. Junho's implants showed their positions, 2 in the residential section, 2 in Cargo Bay 1, 2 heading toward the manufacturing bay where they stood. Move! He shouted. They ran. Junho grabbed Yuna and pulled her along while Hana sprinted ahead. Behind them, the drones entered the manufacturing bay. Weapons fire echoed through the corridors. Junho's combat training kicked in. He knew these drones, had fought them before. They were fast but predictable, He needed weapons and cover. They reached the control center. Junho sealed the door and pulled up the security system. Hana, get to your ship. Yuna, stay behind me. What are you going to do? Yuna asked. My job. Junho accessed the station's old military systems through his implants. His authorization codes from the Marines worked. The station had been built with human military specifications. If this place was secret, it has defenses. He found them. Automated turrets in key corridors. Offline for decades. He brought them online and linked them to his neural interface. Then he unsealed the control center door. The first drone came around the corner, weapons charging. Junho didn't hesitate. His cybernetic arm moved faster than human reflexes, grabbing a metal support beam he had loosened earlier. He swung it like a club, smashing the drone into the wall. Sparks flew. The drone tried to recover, but Junho stomped on its sensor cluster, crushing it. The second drone was smarter. It fired from range, forcing Junho to take cover. But his implants were already directing the turrets. One dropped from the ceiling behind the drone and shredded it with pulse fire. The remaining 4 drones were systematically eliminated over the next 10 minutes. The turrets did most of the work. Junho finished the last one personally, cornering it in the mess hall and tearing out its power core with his cybernetic hand. When it was over, he stood, breathing hard, adrenaline fading. Hana emerged from Bay 2, where her ship was docked. Yuna came out of the control center. Pale but unharmed. Someone activated those remotely, Junho said. Someone knows we're here, and knows what we found, Hana added. Yuna looked at the destroyed drones. The Kethrani. It has to be. They've been monitoring for any mention of the Accord. Junho pulled up the station's communication logs. Someone had sent a remote activation signal 2 hours ago. The source was masked, but his implants traced it through several relays. The origin point was a ship that had passed through the system yesterday. We need help, he said. Military help. He opened a secure channel and sent a message to someone he had hoped never to contact again. His former commanding officer, Tae-min Ro. Now a colonel in Colonial Defense Intelligence. The response came 4 hours later. Taemin's face appeared on the screen. He looked older, tired. Junho, I got your message. Tell me you're joking about the Forbidden Accord. I'm not. I have proof, and someone just tried to kill us for it. Taemin was quiet for a long moment. Where are you? Station Taeyang 7. Heijin system. Stay there. I'm coming personally. And Junho? Don't trust anyone else. If what you're saying is true, this goes higher than you think. The transmission ended. Junho looked at Hana and Yuna. We're in trouble, Hana said. Yes, Junho agreed. But now, we know the truth. And that's worth fighting for. Tae-min Ro arrived 16 hours later in an unmarked military corvette. He came alone, which told Junho everything he needed to know about how serious this was. If Tae-min didn't trust his own crew, the conspiracy went deep. The colonel looked exactly as Junho remembered. Tall, gray at the temples, with eyes that missed nothing. They met in the control center, and Tae-min examined the Valoran blade without touching it. I served in the contact wars, Tae-min said quietly. Watched friends die. We thought we were defending humanity against an unknown enemy. He looked up. You're telling me we were fighting ghosts? That the Kethrani orchestrated the whole thing? That's what the records suggest. Yuna pulled up files on the main display. The attacks during the contact wars targeted specific colonies. Ones where leaders might have known about the Accord. Ones where Valoran refugees might have been hiding. Tae-min studied the data for a long time. I've seen classified reports. Things that didn't make sense. Attack patterns that were too coordinated for random raiders. Intelligence that was too accurate. He rubbed his face. We always assumed we had leaks. What if the information was coming from our allies? The Kethrani, Junho said. Yes. Tae-min sat down heavily. After your message, I checked military archives. Old files. Ones that should have been destroyed. I found references to the Accord. Fragment mentions in reports from 130 years ago. And I found records of investigations into human-Valoran cooperation. Those investigations ended when the researchers died in accidents. Hannah spoke up from where she was monitoring the station's sensors. How many accidents? 17 over 50 years. All people who were asking the wrong questions. That's not accidents, Junho said. Taemin nodded grimly. I brought copies of everything I could find. If we're going to expose this, we need complete proof. Otherwise, they'll just call us conspiracy theorists and discredit everything. They spent the next hours reviewing Taemin's files and cross-referencing them with the station's data cores. The picture that emerged was damning. The Kethrani Alliance had known about human-Valoran cooperation from the beginning. They had spent decades systematically destroying evidence and eliminating witnesses. The contact wars had been the final blow, terrorizing humanity into accepting Kethrani protection. Why? Yuna asked. Why go through all this effort? Because we scared them, Taemin said. Both species, humans and Valorans together. Look at this. He pulled up a Kethrani intelligence report, one he had stolen from classified archives. This was written 140 years ago, after their first observation of human colonies. Junho read it aloud. Humans demonstrate rapid technological advancement and aggressive territorial expansion. Cultural analysis suggests high adaptability and resistance to external control. Recommend isolation protocols until integration strategies can be developed. They were afraid of us, Hannah said, before we even met them officially, and the Valorans were the same way. Creative, independent, refused to accept Kethrani authority. Taemin pulled up another file. When the two species started cooperating, sharing technology, the Kethrani leadership panicked. They saw a future where humans and Valorans would resist alliance expansion together. So they destroyed the Accord and made humanity dependent on them, Junho said. Yes, and it worked. For 80 years, we've been integrated into their alliance. Our military follows their doctrines. Our government coordinates with their council. We think we're partners, but we're really just another controlled member species. Yuna was looking at something on her datapad. There's more. The last files from the station mention Valoran enclaves, hidden colonies, where survivors went after the official destruction of their empire. The coordinates are in the star map. Junho activated the map projector. The hologram showed systems far beyond explored space. 12 locations, marked with Valoran symbols. They're still out there, Yuna whispered. The Valorans survived. They've been hiding for 200 years. Waiting, Taemin said. Probably watching humanity to see if we'd figure out the truth. A proximity alert interrupted them. Junho pulled up the sensors. A ship was approaching at high speed. Not military. Corporate registration. Taejin Industrial. That's the company that owned the station before, Hannah said. Get ready, Junho ordered. This might be trouble. The ship docked at Bay 1 without requesting permission. Junho's combat instincts kicked in. He pulled up the security turrets, the ones he had reactivated during the drone attack. His cybernetic hand clenched. A single person came through the airlock. Male, middle-aged, wearing an expensive suit that looked wrong in a station environment. He walked straight to the control center, like he knew the way. Mr. Kim, the man said pleasantly. My name is Donghyun Lee. I represent Taejin Industrial's Security Division. I'm here to discuss your recent purchase. You're trespassing, Junho said flatly. Actually, there are clauses in the sale agreement regarding discovered assets. Anything found on the station remains corporate property. Donghyun smiled. We're willing to compensate you fairly for your discovery. How did you know we found anything? We've been monitoring the station since you took ownership. Standard security protocol for abandoned properties. Donghyun looked around the control center. Where are the Valoran artifacts? Junho didn't move. Who told you they were Valoran? The pleasant expression didn't change. Mr. Kim, please don't make this difficult. The items you found are classified materials. They need to be returned to proper authorities. Proper authorities, Taemin said, stepping forward. Like the Kethrani Alliance? Dongyun's eyes flicked to Taemin's uniform. Colonel Rowe, your presence here is unexpected. This is a civilian matter. Is it? Taemin crossed his arms. Because I have authorization to investigate threats to colonial security. And right now, you look like a threat, I assure you. Who activated the defense drones? Junho interrupted. 2 days ago, someone sent a remote signal that activated hunter-killer drones throughout this station. That's attempted murder. Dongyun's pleasant mask slipped for just a moment. I don't know what you're talking about. Junho accessed the station's security system through his implants. The drone's activation signal had come from somewhere. He traced it again, deeper this time. Using military decryption protocols Taemin had provided. The signal source resolved. Donghyun Lee's ship. You tried to kill us, Junho said quietly. That's absurd. Junho moved. His cybernetic arm shot out, grabbing Dongyun by the throat and slamming him against the wall. The pleasant expression vanished, replaced by something cold and alien. Get your hands off me. Human. The way he said, human, sent ice through Junho's spine. That wasn't disgust. It was otherness. The voice had changed too. Taking on harmonics that human vocal cords couldn't produce, Taemin drew his sidearm. What are you? Donghyun smiled, and his teeth looked wrong. Too many. Too sharp. You really haven't figured it out? I thought humans were supposed to be clever. Kethrani, Yuna breathed. Surgically altered to look human. Very good, researcher. The thing wearing Dongyun's face relaxed, despite Junho's grip. I've been hunting Accord remnants for 40 years. This station was the last one. I thought we had destroyed all the records. But apparently, humans are more persistent than expected. How many of you are there? Taemin demanded. How many Kethrani agents operating in human space? Enough. We've been here since before the contact wars. Preparing the way. Ensuring humanity's integration went smoothly. The false Donghyun looked at Junho. You should have taken the money. Should have walked away. Now you're going to disappear like all the others who learned too much. Junho tightened his grip. I survived 4 years of combat. You think I'm afraid of one agent? I think you're outnumbered. My ship has a crew of 6, all Kethrani, all trained infiltrators. They're coming through the airlock now. The station's proximity sensors confirmed it. 6 life signs moving through Bay 1 toward the control center. Junho threw the false Donghyun to the floor and sealed the control center door. Hana, get to your ship. Yuna, with her. Taemin, we need to hold them off. Junho, we can't fight 6 trained agents, Taemin said. No, but I can give you time to escape with the data. Junho accessed the station's systems. I can seal sections, vent atmosphere, use the turrets. This is my station, my rules. We're not leaving you, Hana said firmly. You have to. Someone needs to get this information out. The truth about the Accord, about Kethrani manipulation. It all dies if we all die here. Yuna grabbed the data cores. We can transmit the files. Send them everywhere at once. They can't stop them all. Junho considered that. Can you do it from your ship? Yes, I can set up a distributed transmission. Every human system, every news network, every military channel. It'll take 10 minutes to set up. Then do it. Taemin, go with them, make sure it works. The colonel hesitated. I don't leave my people behind. I'm not your people anymore. I'm a civilian with a station to defend. Now go. The false Donghyun laughed from the floor. It doesn't matter. Even if you transmit the files, who will believe you? You're a discredited ex-Marine with conspiracy theories. The Alliance will deny everything. Maybe, Junho said. But humans are good at one thing. Finding the truth. Once they start looking, really looking, they'll see what you've done. He opened the door and shoved Taemin, Hana, and Yuna into the corridor. Bay 2. Move. Then he sealed it again and turned to face the false Dongyun. The Kethrani agents were at the control center door now, cutting through with plasma torches. Just you and me, Junho said, his cybernetic hand crackling with energy. Let's see how good your training really is. The door exploded inward. 6 Kethrani agents poured through, weapons raised. Junho activated every defense system he had. Turrets dropped from the ceiling. Blast doors slammed shut, separating the agents. Atmosphere vents opened, creating pressure differentials. And Junho Kim, ex-Marine Sergeant, fought like humanity had taught him. Brutal, efficient, and absolutely refusing to give up. In Bay 2, Hana's ship launched. Yuna's fingers flew across her datapad, setting up the transmission. And Taemin watched the control center cameras, seeing Junho fight 6-1 against aliens who had spent decades believing humans were controllable. They were about to learn different. "Transmission ready," Yuna said. "Do we send it?" Taemin looked at the cameras one more time. Junho was still fighting, still holding them back. "Send everything," he ordered. "Let the galaxy see what humanity found." The files went out. Millions of transmissions, cascading across every network. The truth about the Forbidden Accord. The truth about Kethrani manipulation. The truth about humanity's hidden history. And in the control center of a small station in the Heijin system, a human marine fought to make sure that truth survived. The fight in the control center lasted 8 minutes. That was 8 minutes longer than the Kethrani agents expected. They had training, advanced weapons, and superior numbers. But Junho had something they didn't understand. He had desperation, rage, and the absolute refusal to quit that had made humanity dangerous in the first place. He used everything. The station's turrets cut down 2 agents before they adapted. He collapsed a corridor section on the 3rd, crushing it under falling metal. The 4th he fought hand-to-hand, and his cybernetic arm proved stronger than Kethrani bone structure. The 5th managed to shoot him twice before Junho threw it through the control center window into vacuum. The 6th agent, the smartest one, realized it was losing and tried to escape. Junho caught it at the airlock and broke its neck with his bare hands. When it was over, he collapsed against the wall, bleeding from multiple wounds. His right leg wouldn't hold weight. His cybernetic arm sparked and whined. But he was alive. He was still alive. The false Dong-yun was gone, having fled during the fight. Junho didn't have the strength to chase it. He activated his communication implant. Taemin. Status. Files are away. Every human system in explored space has them now. News networks are already reporting. Taemin's voice was tight with concern. "Junho, your vitals are critical. We're coming back." "No, stay away. There might be more Kethrani ships." "There are." Long-range sensors show 3 vessels approaching at high speed. But there are also colonial defense ships, converging on your position. I sent out a distress signal before we transmitted the files. Half the fleet heard it. Junho laughed, then coughed blood. "Always covering my back, Colonel. That's what commanders do." "Hold on. Medical support is 20 minutes out." 20 minutes. Junho could manage that. He pulled himself to the control center console and started reviewing the sensor data. 3 Kethrani ships, moving fast. But Taemin was right. Human military vessels were coming too. Lots of them, more than should have been possible. He pulled up the communication channels and understood. The files they had transmitted included everything. The Accord records. The evidence of Kethrani manipulation. The truth about the contact wars. And humanity was reacting the way humanity always did when betrayed. With anger. Military channels were flooded with traffic. Colonial defense commanders demanding answers. Government officials calling emergency sessions. Civilian networks exploding with outrage. In the span of 1 hour, 80 years of careful Kethrani control began to crack. An incoming transmission cut through the noise. Priority Alpha Channel, restricted to flag officers and council members. Junho shouldn't have been able to access it, but his military implants still had old authorizations. He listened. "This is Admiral Hyun of the 3rd Fleet. All vessels are ordered to secure sectors 7 through 15. Kathrani Alliance ships are to be escorted to designated holding areas until this situation is resolved. Any ship that resists will be detained by force. Another voice, older. This is Counselor Jin from Earth. I'm authorizing full military alert. We need answers about these accusations against our allies. Until we get them, Kathrani movements in human space are restricted. The galaxy was changing. Right now, because of what they found. Another transmission, this one directed at the station. An old voice, speaking accented but clear human language. Ex-Marine Junho Kim. My name is Vrelith. I am of the Kathrani, but not of those who deceived your people. May I approach your station? I have information you need to hear. Junho was too tired to be surprised. Come ahead, but know that I'm armed, and really angry right now. Understandable, given the circumstances. The ship that docked 20 minutes later was different from any Kathrani vessel Junho had seen. Smaller, older, with design elements that didn't match Alliance standard. The being that emerged was ancient even by Kathrani standards. Its scales were pale, almost white, and it moved slowly. Vrelith found Junho still sitting in the control center, surrounded by dead Kathrani agents and his own blood. The Elder's eyes widened. You fought 6 infiltrators alone and survived. The reports about human combat capability were not exaggerated. What do you want? Junho's sidearm was pointed at the Elder, but his hand shook, to apologize, and to explain. Vrelith settled onto the floor, moving with obvious pain. I am old. I was young when your accord was established. I remember the debate in our council when we discovered human-Valoran cooperation. Your people destroyed the accord, started a war that killed millions. Yes, my people did that. Not all of us agreed with the decision. There was a faction, myself included, who believed humans should be left alone, that the Valorans had the right to survive. We were outvoted by those who feared what your 2 species could become together. Junho's vision was getting blurry. Blood loss. He needed medical attention soon. Why tell me this? Because the truth must be complete. The Kathrani leadership feared you because of what I am about to tell you. Vrelith's voice grew stronger. In all our history, across 1,000 worlds and 10,000 years, we have encountered only 3 species that refused to be controlled. The Valorans were first. They resisted for centuries before we drove them into hiding. Humans were second. And together, you were unstoppable. What was the 3rd species? There was no 3rd. There have only been 2. That is how rare you are. Vrelith looked at the bodies of the agents. That is why we feared you. Not because you were violent or aggressive, but because you adapt. You innovate. You refuse to accept limitations. And when you work together with others like you become something we cannot control. So you manipulated us for 80 years. My faction tried to prevent it. We argued that humanity should be approached honestly. That partnership was better than control. We lost that argument. The infiltrators were sent. The contact wars were orchestrated, and your accord was destroyed. Vrelith's eyes showed something that might have been regret. But we kept records. Evidence. Waiting for the day when the truth would emerge. Why are you here now? Because that day has come. Your transmission has already caused chaos in the Alliance. Kathrani leadership is scrambling to contain it, but there's something else you need to know. Vrelith pulled out a data device. The Valorans, the coordinates on your star map. They're accurate. The Valorans have been watching humanity for 200 years, waiting to see if you would discover the truth. Now that you have, they want to re-establish contact. Junho took the device with his cybernetic hand. They're coming here? One of their ships is already en route, should arrive within 6 hours. Vrelith stood slowly. I will leave now. But know this. Junho Kim, what you have done today will change the galaxy. The Kathrani Alliance's control is broken. Humanity will have to choose its own path now. And the Valorans will be there to help, if you want them. Why help us? Why give me this information? The elder paused at the door. Because I am old, and I have seen too much suffering caused by fear and control. I would like to see what happens when species choose cooperation instead. Your accord had the right idea. Perhaps it is time to try again. End quote. Vrelith left. Junho sat alone in the damaged control center, surrounded by evidence of Kethrani betrayal and human determination. His communication implant chimed. Taemin. Junho, colonial defense ships are in position around your station. Medical team is boarding now. You need to hold on just a little longer. I'm not going anywhere. Junho looked at the data device Vrelith had given him. Taemin. The Valorans are coming. One of their ships, maybe more. They want to talk. Silence for a moment. Are you sure? An old Kethrani just told me. One who was against the manipulation. I think he's telling the truth. Then we prepare for first contact. Again. But this time, we do it honestly. The medical team found Junho still conscious, still watching the sensors. They stabilized him and started working on his injuries. Through the control center windows, he could see ships gathering, human military vessels forming a protective perimeter, and beyond them, something else. A ship that didn't match any database. Sleek. Dark. With lines that suggested speed and purpose. It approached slowly, broadcasting a signal on the old Accord frequency. In the station's communication center, Unipark translated the signal with shaking hands. They're calling themselves the Valoran Remnant. They're asking permission to dock. They say... She stopped. Overwhelmed. They say they've been waiting 200 years to finish the conversation their ancestors started. Junho tried to sit up, but the medical team held him down. Someone needs to meet them. Someone who understands what the accord meant. You're in no condition, the medic started. Then get me in condition. I didn't survive 6 Kethrani infiltrators to miss this. They put him in a mobile medical unit, a floating stretcher with built-in life support and trauma treatment. It made him look weak, but he was alive. That would have to be enough. The Valoran ship docked at Bay 1, the same bay the false Donghyun had used. But this time, the airlock opened to reveal something different. A being that was roughly humanoid but clearly alien, scaled skin in patterns of dark blue and silver, eyes that were too large, too intelligent. It wore armor that was both ceremonial and functional. It looked at Junho and his medical unit, at the destroyed control center beyond, at the human ships gathered outside. And it smiled in a way that showed sharp teeth but genuine warmth. I am Kiros, commander of the Valoran ship times Ancient Hope *. We received your transmission. We know what you discovered. The alien's voice was melodic, almost singing. My people have waited so long to say this. Welcome back, allies. The Accord is not dead. Not while humans and Valorans still remember what we tried to build together. Junho looked at this being, this representative of a species that had risked everything to warn humanity about the truth, a species that had been hunted and almost destroyed but survived through determination and hope. The Accord is not dead, he agreed. And this time, we'll do it right. No secrets, no manipulation. Just partnership. Kiros extended a clawed hand. Junho reached out with his cybernetic one. They shook. Human and Valoran. With dozens of witnesses watching through cameras and sensors. Outside, the human fleet held position. The Kethrani ships that had been approaching stopped. Uncertain. And across human space, on 1,000 worlds and stations, people watched the footage and understood they had been lied to. Controlled. Manipulated for 80 years. But now they knew the truth. And humanity, as always, would adapt, would overcome, would forge its own path. In the control center of a small station that used to be called Accord, Junho Kim watched the beginning of something new. Something that would change everything. And despite the pain, despite the exhaustion, he smiled. The medical team kept Junho sedated for 3 days. When he woke up, the galaxy had changed. He was in a proper medical bay now, one that hadn't existed on the station before. Someone had brought in equipment, supplies, and staff. Through the window, he could see ships. Dozens of them. Human military vessels, civilian transports, news ships with broadcast arrays, and one dark ship that didn't match any human design. "You're awake." Hana appeared beside his bed, looking tired but pleased. "Good. You've been missing the most important week in human history." Junho's throat was dry. "How long?" 3 days, like I said. "The doctors wanted to keep you under longer, but things are moving fast out there. The Valorans wanted to meet you properly." "What happened while I was out?" Hana pulled up a display screen. "Everything. The files we transmitted caused chaos. Earth's government held emergency sessions. The Colonial Defense recalled all ships from Kethrani Joint Operations, and about 50 human systems formally demanded answers from the Alliance." "What did the Kethrani say?" "Officially, they denied everything, called the files fabrications, said we were trying to destabilize galactic peace." Hana's expression hardened. But then Vrelith appeared on every major broadcast channel and confirmed everything. An elder Kethrani counselor, admitting to decades of manipulation. That changed things. Junho tried to sit up. His body protested, but the medical equipment adjusted to support him. "Where's Taemin?" Junho tried to sit up, coordinating with about a dozen admirals. "The military is split. Some want to withdraw from the Alliance completely. Others want to negotiate new terms. Everyone wants to know what the Valorans are offering." "What are they offering?" "That's what we need you for. Kiros has been waiting to talk to you specifically. Says you're the one who restarted the Accord. You get to help decide what happens next." They moved him to the control center, still in the mobile medical unit. The station looked different. Crews had been working around the clock, repairing damage and installing new systems. The hidden manufacturing bay was active again, with human and Valoran technicians working side by side. Kiros was waiting with Taemin and Yuna. The Valoran commander looked even more impressive in person. The ceremonial armor caught the light, and the intelligence in those large eyes was undeniable. "Junho Kim," Kiros said formally. "You look much better than the last time we met. I feel like I got hit by a ship. You fought 6 trained infiltrators and survived. Among my people. That would earn you warrior honors." Kiros gestured to the window. "But we have more important matters to discuss. Your people need to make a choice, and that choice will affect the entire galaxy." Taemin activated a holographic display. "The situation is complex. The Kethrani Alliance is fracturing. About a third of their member species are demanding investigations into their own integration histories. Some think they were manipulated too." "They were," Yuna added. "I've been reviewing the files Vrelith provided. The Kethrani have been using the same tactics for centuries. Approach new species, create a crisis, offer protection, then slowly absorb their autonomy." Kiros nodded. "The Valorans discovered this pattern 400 years ago. We tried to warn others. That's why we were declared enemies and hunted. But we survived. We adapted. We waited for the right moment." "Why now?" Junho asked. "Why not reveal yourselves earlier?" "Because humanity needed to discover the truth on its own. If we had appeared 30 years ago and told you that your allies were manipulating you, would you have believed us? Or would you have thought we were the manipulators?" Kiros's expression showed what might have been sadness. "We had to wait until humans found the evidence themselves. Until you were ready to question what you had been told. And now, we're ready. Now you're ready. And we're here to offer what we offered 130 years ago. Partnership. Not control. Not manipulation. True cooperation between species that value independence and innovation." Taemin pulled up a document. "Kiros has provided terms for a new accord, but it's different from the original. This time, it's open. Public. Any species that wants to join can join, as long as they agree to the core principles." Junho read through the terms. They were simple but powerful. Mutual defense without surrender of sovereignty. Technology sharing without theft or exploitation. Cooperation without control. And a fundamental promise. No member species would manipulate another. What about the Kethrani? He asked. The ones who created this mess in the first place? That's being debated, Taman said. Some want them excluded entirely. Others think that's just revenge, not justice. Kiros spoke carefully. Among my people, there is anger. We were hunted for 200 years because we refused Kethrani control. But there are good Kethrani too. Vrelith and his faction, others who disagreed with their leadership's tactics. We do not want to become what we fought against. So we offer them a choice. Junho said. Join the new accord under the same terms as everyone else. Give up the manipulation tactics. Or, stay separate. That's one option. But it requires humanity to take the lead. You're the ones who discovered the truth. You're the ones the galaxy is watching. Kiros looked at him intently. What you decide now will shape galactic politics for generations. Junho thought about that. A week ago, he was just trying to start a salvage business. Now he was helping decide the fate of multiple species. It would have been funny if it wasn't so serious. I'm just an ex-Marine, he said. I'm not qualified to make these decisions. You're a human who refused to accept comfortable lies, Yuna said. You fought for the truth, even when it nearly killed you. That makes you more qualified than most politicians. A proximity alarm chimed. New ships approaching. Junho pulled up the sensors and saw a massive vessel entering the system. It broadcast Kethrani Alliance identification codes and council authority. They're here, Taman said grimly. The Alliance leadership, probably coming to try damage control. Or to silence us, Hana added from where she was monitoring communications. I'm picking up encrypted military channels. They might try something aggressive. Kiros stood. Then we should greet them together. Let them see that the accord is real, that humans and Valorans stand united. They gathered in the control center, watching the Kethrani council ship approach. It was enormous, designed to intimidate. It docked at Bay 3, and a delegation of 6 emerged. 5 were Kethrani of various ranks and positions. The 6th was human. Junho recognized her from government broadcasts. Counselor Mireille Song, humanity's representative on the Kethrani Alliance Council. She looked uncomfortable, caught between 2 loyalties. The Kethrani spoke first, a high-ranking official named Thesak. This situation has gone too far. The accusations being spread are based on partial information and misunderstandings. We are here to clarify the truth. The truth, Junho said flatly, is that you manipulated humanity for 80 years, created wars to make us dependent on you, destroyed our first attempt at independent alliance. That's not partial information, that's documented fact. Thesak's scales shifted color, a sign of agitation. The contact wars were orchestrated by Kethrani intelligence. We have the operational files, the attack patterns, the infiltrators who carried them out. Taman pulled up the evidence. Your people caused millions of human deaths to force us into the alliance. Counselor Murray looked sick. Is this true? See, Thesak hesitated. That hesitation told them everything. You knew. Mireille whispered. When you brought me onto the council, when you made me humanity's representative, you knew we had been manipulated. The integration was necessary. Necessary. Junho's voice was cold. You committed genocide against the Valorans. Started a war that killed millions of my people. Destroyed our chance at real partnership. And you call that necessary? Ma. Another Kethrani spoke up, younger, with scales that showed stress patterns. Not all of us agreed. There were factions who opposed the manipulation. But we were outvoted. Then maybe it's time for new votes, Kiros said. The Valoran remnant is willing to negotiate peace with the Kethrani alliance, but only under terms that guarantee no more manipulation, no more control, true cooperation, or separation. Unacceptable, Thesak said. The alliance has maintained galactic peace for false peace, Yuna interrupted. Peace built on lies and control isn't real peace. It's just delayed conflict. Junho watched the Kethrani delegation carefully. They were scared. He could see it in their body language, the way they kept glancing at each other. The alliance was fracturing, and they knew it. "Here's what's going to happen," he said. "Humanity is withdrawing from the Kethrani alliance effective immediately. We're joining the new accord that the Valorans are proposing. Any other species that wants real independence is welcome to join us." "You can't," Thesak started. "We can. We are. And there's nothing you can do to stop us without starting a war you'll lose. Because this time, humans and Valorans will fight together, and we're better at war than you ever imagined." The threat hung in the air. Taman supported it with military data. Colonial Defense has already recalled all ships from joint operations. We have 30 battle groups on high alert. And the Valorans have provided specifications for hybrid weapons systems that are significantly more advanced than current alliance standards. Kiros added quietly. "We do not want war. We want partnership. But we will not return to hiding. We will not run again. If the alliance forces conflict, they will discover why we were considered dangerous in the first place." Thesak looked at the evidence. At the united front of humans and Valorans, at the ships gathering outside. The calculation was clear. The alliance could force compliance, but the cost would be devastating. And they would lose member species in the process. "We need time to consult with the full council," Thesak said finally. "You have 1 week," Junho said. "Then we're making the new accord public and open for membership. Every species gets to choose." The Kethrani delegation left. Councillor Mireille stayed behind, looking lost. "I didn't know," she said. "I swear I didn't know about the manipulation." "We believe you," Taman said gently. "But you need to decide where you stand now. With humanity. With the truth." Mireille straightened. "I'll resign from the Alliance Council, and I'll support the new accord." Over the next 6 days, the galaxy held its breath. News networks debated endlessly. Military forces positioned themselves carefully, and species across 100 worlds discussed their options. On the 7th day, Junho stood in the station's observation deck, watching ships arrive. Human vessels from 24 colonies, Valoran ships emerging from hiding after 200 years, and others, smaller delegations from species that had been part of the Kethrani alliance but wanted something different. Even some Kethrani came. Vrelith arrived with a faction of reformers who wanted to change their society. They asked permission to join the new accord to help build something better. "This is going to be complicated," Hana said, standing beside him. "Everything worth doing is complicated," Junho replied. Kiros appeared on his other side. "The accord will be formally established tomorrow. Representatives from 11 species have agreed to the terms, including reformed Kethrani. What about the alliance? What about Thesak and the leadership? They're restructuring, promising reforms, promising transparency." Kiros made a sound that might have been laughter. "They're terrified. For the first time in centuries, they face real opposition. Real alternatives." "Good," Junho said. "They should be scared. Maybe fear will make them honest." Yuna joined them, carrying data pads. "I've been asked to head the historical documentation project for the new accord, making sure we record everything accurately this time. No more hidden truths. And I've been asked to manage station operations," Hana added. "Apparently New Horizons Station is going to be the headquarters for the accord. Neutral territory where all species meet as equals." Junho looked at them. His friends. The people who had stood with him when everything changed. "And what about me? What do they want me to do?" Taman walked up, smiling. "The council wants you as the first human ambassador to the accord. Formal position, diplomatic authority. The whole thing. I'm not a diplomat. No. You're a Marine who bought a station and accidentally changed galactic politics. But that makes you perfect. You don't play games. You don't lie. You just do what's right." Taman held out a data pad. "The formal offer is here. You don't have to accept." Junho took the pad and read through it. "Ambassador Kim." It sounded wrong. He was just trying to start a salvage business, just trying to retire quietly. But that wasn't possible anymore. He had found the truth about humanity's past, had restarted the Accord, had helped create a future where species could cooperate honestly. I accept, he said. Someone needs to make sure we don't screw this up. The formal ceremony happened the next day. Representatives from 11 species gathered in the station's main bay, the same bay where Junho had first found the hidden compartment. They signed the new accord in a dozen languages, promising cooperation without control. Junho stood with Kiros at the front, human and Valoran together, just like the first accord 130 years ago. But this time, it wasn't secret. This time, the whole galaxy was watching. Do you think it will work? Kiros asked quietly. True cooperation between so many species? I don't know, Junho admitted. But it's worth trying. Better than comfortable lies. Yes, much better. Kiros looked at him with those large, intelligent eyes. Your species has a saying about refusing to give up even when facing impossible odds. Never surrender. Yes. The Valorans have adopted it. We say it in your language now. To remember why we survived. Never surrender. Kiros extended a clawed hand. To the new accord, may it last longer than the first. Junho shook with his cybernetic hand. To the accord. And to the truth. Outside, ships from a dozen species held position around the station, not as a threat, but as protection. The Kathrani alliance was still out there, still powerful, but they weren't the only option anymore. Humanity had found its own path. Not through control or manipulation, but through determination and the refusal to accept lies. And now, standing beside the Valorans and others who valued independence, humanity was showing the galaxy what real cooperation looked like. Junho Kim, ex-Marine and accidental diplomat, watched the ceremony and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Real hope. Not the false promise that came with comfortable lies. The Accord was reborn. The galaxy was changing. And humanity, as always, would adapt and thrive. Never surrender. Never stop seeking truth. Never accept control. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. And it was enough.